Today we're talking about the top 10 things Prince William will inherit as king. Starting off today's top 10, royal wills are never made public. Among their many other secrets, add $500 million worth of the Queen's personal wealth to the list. Her jewels, art collection, investments, and a couple properties are just a few things part of the fortune. Next in line of succession is King Charles, who will probably be inheriting most of this depending on what Queen Liz decided to share in the will. The Queen's private property, inherited from her father, includes Balmoral Castle in Scotland and Sandringham in the UK. Like all other members of the royal family, the Queen had a will to determine who will inherit her resources. The Queen's heir, King Charles, will inherit Balmoral Castle and Sandringham House. The Crown Estate's property, including Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, Holyrood Palace, and a variety of other items including the crown jewels, an art collection, and archives, will also remain the property of the reigning King Charles in his official capacity. Between the private property and the state assets, both may go to the king, and all of the official assets which are held in trust for the nation, like the art and jewels. Most of the royal family's wealth adds up to $21 billion in land, property, and investments. These guys are so loaded, I might have to call them up to swing over a couple million. I know it won't hurt their deep pockets. All of this wealth will eventually be passed down to Prince William, who is now first in line to the British throne. Oh, to be the King of England. The future king will also inherit the $1.2 billion private Duchy of Cornwall estate from his father. By the time Will's oldest son becomes king, I wonder how much more their wealth will be worth. Number 9 on our list of things Prince William will inherit is the Sovereign Grant. The crown jewels, estimated to be worth at least 3 billion British pounds, belong to the Queen and would automatically be transferred to her successor. The Queen's private wealth will be added to Charles's own, which has been estimated at $100 million. In comparison, Elizabeth's late husband, Prince Philip, left an estate worth 10 million British pounds, including an art collection of 3,000 pieces, most of which were given to family and friends. Number 8. The Queen, whose wealth will be shared with her descendants, also inherited quite a bit from her ancestors too. Being part of the royal line may come with a lot of responsibility, but it also comes with a lot of money. Obviously, we're not surprised, but it is crazy to see how much money they keep within their family. I wouldn't be surprised to find out they are worth much more than they share with the public, knowing how sneaky and secretive they are. Ooh. Before Charles ascended to the throne, his net worth was around $440 million. His wealth was amassed from the Duchy of Cornwall, a private estate fund for charities and private organizations. As king, Charles inherited the Duchy of Lancaster, a private estate of commercial, agricultural, and residential assets owned by royalty since the Middle Ages. On the other hand, Charles will lose the Duchy of Cornwall, another private estate in southwest England. It brought in a revenue surplus of some 23 million British pounds in 2021 to 2022. The monarch is not legally obligated to pay income tax, capital tax, or inheritance tax, but the new king is expected to follow in his mother's footsteps and pay the income tax. The Queen's personal assets are also expected to be eventually passed down to will. Counting down to number 7, King Charles inherits not just the throne, but also the Queen's private fortune, without having to pay inheritance tax. Seriously, being that rich and not having to pay taxes, no wonder the monarchy is worth billions. And since British monarchs don't need to reveal their private finances, it is known that the Queen was worth more than $426 million, 5 million British pounds more than the previous year. Most of the late sovereign's personal wealth will be passed down to Charles, without the British government getting a slice. The real royal wealth, the Crown Estate lands and the royal collection of art and jewelry, plus official residences and royal archives, is held by the monarchy as an institution. As such, they will only pass down to Charles in trust. Similarly, the crown jewels, estimated to be worth at least 3 billion British pounds, only belonged symbolically to the Queen and were automatically transferred to her successor. The Queen's private wealth will be added to Charles's own. He most likely will inherit a larger portion of wealth than what Charles got. Number 6. The Queen may have left a large portion for her family, but the late Prince Philip also left a good amount of money and assets for the future monarchy. An estate worth 10 million British pounds, including an art collection of some 3,000 works, were given to family and friends. The properties include farmlands, homes, mineral mining grounds, and even the Oval Cricket Ground in London. The duchy was last valued at around £1 billion at the end of March, and thanks to the inheritance, William will soon become the most significant landowner in the entire country. The duchy was established way back in 1337 when Edward III wanted to ensure financial independence for his son, Prince Edward. According to the agreement of the duchy, the estate will be passed on to every Duke of Cornwall in order to ensure that the tradition lives on. Dating all the way back to the 1300s is crazy, but it's interesting to know they kept this tradition alive. Down to number 5, the annual sovereign grant from the UK Treasury is set at 15% of the profits from the Crown Estate, which the monarch surrenders to the government under a deal made all the way back in 1760. The sovereign grant covers costs of official engagements for the monarch and other senior members of the royal family, along with paying staff and the upkeep of royal palaces. In 2021 to 2022, it was set at 86.3 million British pounds, equivalent to $2 per person in the UK, and included funding for the renovation of Buckingham Palace. $2 per person isn't too crazy, but clearly it added up when you think about how many people in the UK there are. The Crown Estate's portfolio includes commercial and retail properties, prime locations in central London, and rural and coastal land across the country. They also own a part of the waters around England and Wales. It's no surprise they are one of Europe's biggest property empires. Inheritance tax in Britain is charged at 40% on estates above a £325,000 British pound threshold. But the new king will not pay inheritance tax on the personal wealth he will inherit from his mother due to rules drawn up in 1993. So, it's been established how much wealth there is among the family to pass down onto future generations. Being one of late Princess Diana's sons, what will future King William inherit from his mom? At number 4, Diana reportedly had a net worth of about $31.5 million. This included all of her funds, stock investments, and physical objects like jewelry and clothing. Her £17 million divorce settlement from Prince Charles is also included in this. The princess's estate was divided between several different people, including her longtime butler, Paul Burrell, and her many godchildren. Of course, her primary beneficiaries were her beloved sons, William and Harry. In her will, Diana established a discretionary fund which would help Will and Harry and their future families. £100,000 reportedly went into that fund, in addition to accumulated interest and income from the assets of the fund. Number 3, Diana was very particular in what she wanted to leave for her sons, and lucky for Harry, who stepped down from his royal duties, whatever he inherited from Princess Diana made his transition out of the palace easier. Other than her funds, Diana left many sorts of material possessions for her sons and godchildren. The day after she signed the original will, Lady Diana composed an additional document called the Letter of Wishes, specifying that she wanted to be done with her jewelry and other material possessions. The letter requested that 75% of these personal effects, called chattels in the UK, be evenly distributed between William and Harry. She even specifically stated in the letter that she hoped that her sons' eventual wives would one day be able to wear her jewelry. Thinking about her future daughter-in-laws, it was clear how much Diana loved her sons. Number 2, other things Will will inherit from Diana were included in a request she had made for the distribution of her material possessions from the Discretionary Fund. She wanted the remainder of her estate to be divided between her sons once they turned 25. Since they were just teens when she passed away, the estate was placed in a trust. The executors of the trust Diana added to the will in February 1996 were her mother and her sister. Unfortunately, Diana's vision of her inheritance didn't quite come true the way she envisioned it. A few months after Diana's passing, her mother and sister made a variance to the will known as the arrangement. This variation order postponed the date Harry and William would inherit their share of the estate. Though they could still receive interest from the trust upon turning 25, they wouldn't inherit the full sum until they turned 30. By the time both princes were 30, the residuary estate was worth about $16 million for each of them. And that wasn't the only change that the executors made. The arrangement also altered the amount of property that Diana's 17 godchildren received. Number 1, last but not least, part of the property that fell into William and Harry's possession was their mother's wedding dress. The David and Elizabeth Emanuel designed gown with a 25-foot long train, which remains the longest in British royal wedding history, was passed down to the princes as part of her will. Like the rest of the residuary estate, it became the property of her sons when they turned 30. Before then, it belonged to Diana's brother, Earl Spencer. On Harry's 30th birthday in September 2014, the breathtaking silk gown was finally passed down. After Diana's passing, each of her sons were allowed to choose a keepsake from her most beloved belongings at Kensington Palace. Prince William chose a gold Cartier Tank Francaise watch, given to the princess by her father. After her divorce, Diana was frequently photographed wearing this watch, and William knew his mother would have wanted him to have it. Harry chose a stunning blue 12-karat sapphire and diamond ring that Prince Charles purchased for his bride-to-be in 1981. However, the brothers agreed that whichever of them got engaged first would be allowed to pass the ring on to his fiancée. So, when William was preparing to pop the question to Kate Middleton, Harry gave the ring to his big brother. As cute as it is, Harry also got to pay tribute to his late mother with his engagement. Harry designed Meghan's ring himself, and the 2 diamonds on either side of the larger one came from Diana's personal collection. We're sure the People's Princess would be absolutely touched. With the countless ways the royal family surprises us, whether it's with their over-the-top tours and trips across the world, or through their generous services, it's clear this royal family takes their lavish lifestyle very seriously. So as we continue following the family and watch them announce the next heir to the throne, it will always be entertaining to watch how rich the royals really are and how they pass down their fortune. William seems to be in for a treat by the time he becomes king. The portfolio of properties and assets, along with the several streams of income this family is making, I still can't get over how they don't pay taxes. But I guess that's the upside of the royal and lavish lifestyle. Comment below if you think William will be a good king once that title is passed down to him. I personally think he'll be That's all for today's top 10. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
I hope that